Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back in to the garage. Now in today's video, we're going to be covering an underestimated yet important preventative maintenance step in the care and ownership of your third generation Toyota 4Runner, and that is cleaning your blower motor. Now your blower motor can be located inside the vehicle on the passenger side underneath your glove box. If you've never taken it out and done this maintenance step, I would really encourage you guys to take the steps in this video and do it for yourself. I bet you'll be just as shocked as I was at the results. Now there's a few reasons why keeping a clean blower motor is important. One of those is the efficiency of your system. If your blower motor is bogged down with dirt, debris, dust, allergens on those fins, it just creates more drag on that motor and a heavier weight on that motor as it spins. So keeping a clean blower motor keeps a more efficient, longer lasting system. Another reason is air quality. If your blower motor is spinning that dirt, debris, allergens, and pollution around, it's going to kick it through your system. It's going to end up in your vehicle. So really, there's a few different reasons, but those are probably the most important. Now, as I go through the steps in this video and show you guys how to do this maintenance on your own, you'll notice that I talk about the fact that these vehicles did not come from the factory equipped with a cabin air filter. Obviously, cabin air filters act just like an air filter in your engine. They filtrate the air as it comes into the cabin from the exterior of the vehicle. Now, there are some companies out there, and with a quick online search, you can find them, that have gone the extra mile and actually offer a cabin air filter that they've made. And you can purchase them and get them on your very own third gen 4Runner. As you'll see in this video, I don't own one of those, but I definitely have it on my list for the future. So I hope you guys really take encouragement from this video to take the 30 minutes to an hour that this preventative maintenance takes, put it into your rotation, whether it be every 3,000, 5,000, 10,000 miles, to just take it out, inspect it. And as per normal, when you do preventative maintenance on a regular basis, the job becomes that much easier every time you do it. So as always, I really appreciate you guys. Thanks so much for the comments. Thank you for the likes and the subscriptions. They mean a lot. It just really lets me know that what I'm doing is helping you guys. And really, that's the best part of it, the community. Thanks so much, and we will catch you next time. Now, the view that you currently have is going to be underneath your glove box. So essentially, the view you're looking at here is from the floor mat up, and this is going to be our blower motor right here. This blower motor is held in technically 4 different locations, but only 3 with a screw here that appears to be a star bit, and then also our electric harness here that's held in. We're going to have to remove those locations in order to extract that blower motor out to inspect it. However, before we do that, we're going to start by removing our trim pieces to gain access. So here's the trim pieces we need to remove in order to access that blower motor easily and to take it out to inspect it. It's going to be real easy. This kick panel here and this sill plate. This sill plate is held in by 4 of these screws. So let's go ahead and get to work. Well, we've removed our floor mat and we have a nice metal tray here, a magnetic tray that I use on all of my jobs. And we're going to go ahead and start by removing the 4 screws in the sill plate so that we can remove the sill plate before addressing the kick panel. All right, now that we have the 4 screws removed, there's really multiple different ways that you can remove this. If you don't have a body panel pulling tool like these, which I use these things all the time. It's one of the best things I ever purchased on Amazon. I'll try to find it and include a link in the description of this video. It actually comes in a kit, and man, I just love it. But if you don't have these, you can really just do this by hand. And honestly, I do it by hand most of the time. But in this case, what we're going to do is we're going to just pry up underneath, and we're going to move along the entirety of this sill plate. And what I like to do is I like to get underneath it a little bit at a time. I don't want to put too much pressure and tension by pulling one end up by itself. So the goal here is to pull up a little by little all along, and you'll hear those little snaps. That's totally normal. And there we go. We've pulled it out. Now, what you can see on the back side to understand how this snaps in is you have these tabs right here that actually hold into place. You've got 4 of them along. Now, anytime you pull this up, it's really good to inspect it for quality, because it's really, really easy to break these things on our 4Runners. I mean, these vehicles are old. This plastic gets brittle. If you break one of these off, will it ruin it? No, but remember, the screw travels through that portion and actually widens that out. It acts like a wall anchor in drywall, and it holds it. So what you're gonna have is a loose sill plate. So we'll move that aside, and you can actually see the locations at which those tabs interact within the frame of the vehicle. So now that this is out of the way, we can address the kick panel. Now, the kick panel is actually really quite simple. We're just gonna grab down here is what I like to do, grab these holes and just pull it towards myself, nice and easy. And there we go, just like that, it's done. Now on the back side, to show you why, it has a connection point here, and also has these 2 points here and that connection point. So that's what slides out. Again, it interacts right down here. I think you guys can see that. Yep, it interacts right down there. And we have essentially some connection point here as well for these 2 tabs. So again, just grab it and pull it right towards yourself. Now you might actually be able to see this, but I've got some glass to clean up, and you might think, man, look at that guy, huh? Look at that shard of glass. You might think, why does he have glass in his vehicle? Well, this is a leftover and a continuation from when a 300-pound buck decided to jump out in front of my 4Runner. Thankfully, he leaped over the hood, looked quite majestic, but absolutely slammed into my windshield. I thankfully did not have any body damage, but he blew up my windshield, took off my antenna, and still months later, I'm dealing with glass falling out of the dash in places that I would never think about. So we're gonna vacuum this glass up, and then we'll move along to the blower motor. All right, so I got my flashlight here illuminating just to see if it can help you guys on the visual any better. But now that the kick panel is out of the way, we're ready. And we have 3 screws. We have one here, one there, and one on the back side. These are star bits, and I don't have my, I don't know what size star bit this is, but if you guys have a good star bit set, you'll be able to find which one it is pretty easily. And we've got our electrical connection here. So now with the kick panel out of the way, we can access our electrical connection and plug that out first, and then go ahead and take the 3 screws. I've got another one of these awesome panel puller tools that I use from that set I talked about. So we're going to use that, get this electrical connection unplugged, and then get the screws out. All right, now what I'm doing here is I'm just using that tool to compress the tab on the electrical connection and pull down towards myself. Right there is what you need to push and compress in. So you'll compress that, pull down towards the floorboard, and that removes that connection. We'll tuck that out of the way there. And now we'll get to work on removing the 3 screws. There we go, just so you guys can see. Now, a couple of these are going to be really hard to see. I'm going to loosen that one not all the way. Since I took this first one out, I don't want all the weight of the entire blow motor on that back screw. So we're going to loosen that one just a little bit, and then I'm going to try to attack the screw in the rear here. Now, since there's not a lot of room back there in regards to where that screw's located to the floorboard, a tool like this right angle tool comes in extremely handy, especially for the price of these things. They're very cheap and they pay for themselves. So we're going to go ahead and put that one in and start to loosen it here. There we go. Slow and steady, and kind of an odd angle here, so you're gonna have to bear with me. There we go. So hopefully what we can do is start the process and get it far along enough to where we can then just remove it by hand. In hindsight, what I would suggest you guys doing is actually removing this screw in the rear first. I'm not going to go ahead and put this one back in, but now that I'm doing this, it would be nice to have that screw held in and do the backside first so that the weight isn't actually causing even more of a difficulty in getting into this tight space and unscrewing the screw. And unless you have a real stubby screwdriver, which I do have, and I might actually have to go grab it. I don't know how you could get access to this without one of these right angle tools. So here we go. We've got it out now. Not too bad. Now that that's free, I'm going to go ahead and get my bit out. And we will place it back in the screwdriver. And get our last screw free here. There we go. All right, now with all 3 screws extracted from the blower motor and the electrical connection, we can go ahead and lower it down nice and easy and get it free. All right, let's go take it to the workbench and take a look. Well, since I was talking about it so much, I decided just to go ahead and show you guys this kit. It doesn't come with the leaf, okay? You guys don't get the leaf, but I decided to show you this kit and everything it actually comes with. And just, man, it is so worth it. I'm missing a couple of pieces. Cry some tears. I left them at a junkyard. But for the most part, it comes with so many different options of panel pullers, and it comes with a great arrangement of picks and tools. And this thing has been absolutely fantastic for me. So yeah, check it out if you guys think this will help you in your mechanic life like it's helped mine. All right, so here we are. We have our blower motor extracted, and let's take a look. I hope I can show you guys by zooming in just how dirty this blower motor really is. See, each one of these are obviously blades, and this blower motor will spin freely, and obviously a lot of air travels through this. But as you can see here, these blades or fins are coated in nastiness. Now, I don't know if you guys have done any searches online or looked on any of the community forums about these topics, but there's a couple things I have come to find out. Some 4Runners, and this is obviously dependent upon the ownership and their life. I've seen guys or gals take these blower motors out and there be just a collection of junk in here, whether it be leaves, debris, or even dead rodents such as mice or squirrels. And man, if that's happening, you've got a serious problem on your hands. But in this case, you know, my vehicle, I stay off, basically off the beaten path. I'm on the road, and this is not necessarily surprising. However, for such an easy task in regards to pulling it out, it is definitely worth cleaning this and just making certain that it's operating at peak functionality. Another thing that you want to do when you have it pulled from the vehicle is you want to take it and spin it and make certain that as you spin it, you're not hearing anything being bound up or any dragging of any sort. Let's listen. So it sounds pretty good. I'm going to do a spin test when I have both my hands free and I have the phone on the mount, but I feel pretty good about that. But I will tell you, as you look through these fins, trying to get you guys a nice macro shot here. As you look through these fins, it is pretty clear to me that this sucker needs to be cleaned up. So what we're going to do is we're going to get some cleaner. We're going to get some brushes. We're going to attack it. We're going to spray it down, let it dry, and get it reinstalled. Let's get after it. All right, so here we are. We're ready to go after the cleaning portion. We've got one of my favorite go-tos, which is the Chemical Guys Nonsense Invisible Super Cleaner. I'm not going to dilute it. I'm just going to use it straight up. And then I have a nice agitating brush here. I'll try to find a link for you guys on Amazon for this brush set that I got. These things are fantastic. I use them for so many different items. Got to keep these around, got to keep them on hand. So we're going to start by spraying it down. And what I want to do is really give you guys an understanding of just how dirty it was. So I'm only going to start here on a little section at first, and we're going to spray that down, let it sit for just a minute. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to start to drag towards me. Now, take a look at all that falling on this beautiful lime green microfiber. I'm hoping you can see exactly what it is. It's dirt, dust, and debris. Now, let's zoom in here a little bit closer. And I'm hoping you guys can tell that these fins should actually be translucent, and they're not. And that's just from all the dust and the dirt and the collection of such. So we're going to keep after it here. And what I'm actually going to do, because this is so dirty, is I'm going to go get myself a cup of some warm water, just like an artist's paintbrush, right? You have a cup of warm water, you can dip your brush into it, and it'll help to take all that gunk out of it in between cleanings to make certain we're doing kind of a better job at staying clean while we clean. So I'm going to go get that. All right, so we've got our cup of warm water, and it's already going to turn pretty disgusting here as we clean, but we're going to keep after it. And what I'm working on here is this cone, just getting down inside those grooves of the cone. And again, just agitating around it. Okay. Now for me, cleaning this is going to be a multi-step process, okay? We're not just going to clean it with this nonsense Chemical Guys cleaner. We're going to start with that, and then what we're going to move from there is going to be water and air. What I want to do is get most of the gunk off with the cleaner so that it makes it easier to do it once it comes to the water and the air. The water is going to be obviously just in regards to spraying off the unit. I don't want to get it everywhere, but I'm going to spray it off. And then after the water, we're going to come back with the air in hopes that we get every little bit of dirt and debris and dust cleaned out of this unit as we can. You know, one thing to keep in mind in regards, you might say, man, why is this maintenance important? Well, you know, here's the deal. If you care about your vehicle is going to care about you. And one thing that I've learned is that it's a really good thing to do preventative maintenance. What we're doing here by cleaning these fins is making certain that when this motor turns on and it circulates the air and pulls the air through these fins, that by being as clean as possible, it creates as minimal drag as possible to the fins, which in turn is to the motor of the blower motor. And it will allow our equipment to operate for longer, at higher efficiency, and less drag. So, you know, that's actually really important to me, and it should be really important to you guys. And for those of you guys that might be doing a lot of off-roading, a lot of trips in the desert out on the West Coast, a lot of trips in the mountains, wherever you might live, whether it be East Coast, Middle America, West Coast, you guys got mountains. For those of you that are doing those activities, this is something that I would work into your routine maintenance program at a less interval than somebody like myself who might be just sticking to the city roads more often than not. And that's because you're going to be pulling a lot more particles through this blower motor. Another thing is that there are companies out there that make what's called a cabin air filter. And I'll show you guys a little bit more when we go to install this unit back in. Look at all that. Holy cow, huh? Almost looks like a cookies and cream milkshake. That is absolutely disgusting. But there are companies out there that make cabin air filters for this 3rd gen 4Runner. The 3rd gen did not come from Toyota out of the factory with a cabin air filter. So as part of a continuation to improve our vehicles, for those of us that love these 4Runners, there are companies out there that have created cabin air filters that, like I said, I'll show you where they go. And while I don't have one, it's not something I would ever be against purchasing. I just haven't got to it. But for those of you, again, that do a lot of off-roading and traveling in more conditions off the road that could be dirt and pulling dirt in, I would highly recommend that if you haven't looked into that, that you look into getting yourself one of those cabin air filters, because honestly, it'll help filtrate the air that comes in and keep your 4Runner just a little bit cleaner, operating probably a little bit better. But do your research on that and see if you think that might be best for you. I am in no way affiliated with any of those companies, so I don't have any stake in the game as to what your decision ultimately might be. But I do love the fact that there's people out there that love these vehicles and are working to improve it. I am all about that. So we have got ourselves quite a disgusting mess. And really, just take a brief pause here. Keep in mind, this is from somebody that drives their 4Runner on the city roads and not off-road. And just look at that for a minute. I might have to retire this microfiber towel, let's be honest. But I just thought it looked good for the video, so I wanted you guys to see it. But all right, so now that I'm here at this stage, what I'm gonna choose to do is take a brief pause, and I'm gonna go rinse this out. But I'm gonna do it in the sink. And the reason I'm doing it in the sink is because I want a steady, consistent, controlled flow of water that is not overpowering in regards to how I rinse this off. So I'm gonna go rinse it off, and we'll be right back and see how it looks. All right, so we've got it all rinsed off, and man, what a huge difference this is. Now, it's still not perfect, and I've got it out, so I'm gonna get it as close to perfect as I can. I'm a little OCD with this stuff, guys, but you know, that's just the way God made me. But as you can see on these fins here, you've got some dark spots, and that's just because I wasn't able to reach in there and clean. But what I can do is I can take this hook, this pick, and guess where this came from? Yep, that same kit on Amazon that I told you all about earlier with the body panel pullers. And what I can do is go in here and clean out that dirt. So I'm gonna do that, as you can tell, right? And then also we've got some dirty spots here on the fins. So I'm gonna work on that. I'm gonna get that cleaned off, and then we're gonna come in here and we're gonna blow it off with some air. Now, I promised you guys something I would do whenever I had both hands free, and that is the spin test. So once again, what we're doing is we're spinning to make certain that we don't hear any kind of holdup or obstruction or any type of issue with this when it spins. So let's check it out. So it sounds great. Totally functional, no issues whatsoever, aside from the fact that I just sprayed myself with water in the face. Other than that, everything looks good. So we're gonna go ahead, we're gonna take this pick, we're gonna take some microfiber towels here, and we're gonna start cleaning in the little bitty nooks and crannies here, and then blow it out. Let's get to work. All right, guys, so here is the finished product. You tell me what you think. Is it worth it for 30 minutes of your time and peace of mind to clean out your blower motor on your 3rd gen 4Runner and keep that one aspect of this vehicle operating properly? Got a little speck there. Can't have that. Come on. Let's get that guy off. What do you guys think? I sure think it is. And I'll tell you, I hope this comes across in video. But wow, what an improvement. You know, when I first pulled it out, I almost didn't think it was all that dirty. But upon cleaning it, it was extremely dirty. And I'll go ahead and save you guys probably the gross factor. I won't pour this warm water out on camera and show you just how disgusting that was. But man, I am just super pleased. And all it cost me was a little bit of time and one really nice green microfiber that won't be used any longer except for on projects just like this. All right, it looks fantastic. Let's get it installed. Well, we're back in the vehicle and we are about to install our blower motor back into the 3rd gen. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a microfiber and this natural shine protectant from Meguiar's, which is really intended for dash surfaces. But man, I use this on everything, and I'm going to clean up a little bit inside of this housing where it goes. Obviously there's dust in there, and we just spent a good amount of time, you know, about 30 minutes or so, cleaning the fins on the blower motor. So I'm going to clean up and around both of these openings in here. Just a good wipe down. So I promised you guys I would tell you about where that cabin air filter goes that some companies are making. And what it does is typically they go up in this hole. There's a second hole. And let me get my flashlight. Maybe that'll help, I don't know. But there's a second hole up there. I don't know if you guys can tell or not. And hopefully you can, I'll see it on playback. But what usually occurs, from my understanding, is that the cabin air filter these guys are making snaps up into that hole, and that is the filtration. Then you put your blower motor over that filter. Now, obviously in this case, I don't have that. So we're gonna go ahead and get straight to reinstallation of our clean blower motor. Now, really important to remember how it came out, right? Where those holes are and where that connection point is. So we're gonna go ahead and get it there, get it reinstalled. Gonna slide back in there. And there it is right there. The easiest way of telling is by that electrical point being on the right side of the motor when it installs. The other thing is you just keep spinning it, it'll seat itself. So if it's not in the right position, it won't seat. If it is, it will. So we're gonna start on actually the two easiest ones in this case, which would be the front and the front left. And then we're gonna try to tackle that little guy in the back, which gave us a little bit of trouble, just a little bit of trouble when we took it out. I'm gonna go ahead and screw that almost fully in just to get some help in regards to holding it. This one's a bit tougher because it's really blind. You've got the hole where the screw goes covered by those channels on the panel molding, essentially on the blower motor molding. Not too bad though. Keep in mind, if you guys are doing this job and you're not filming it like me, you might have an easier time kind of doing some yoga to get in here and install it back. Some of my space here is limited just due to the fact that we're filming this for you guys, but happy to do that. So We're going to try to attack this one here in the rear of the unit. And I didn't try the screwdriver on the first go round. There's a good reason for it. It's just not going to work. Thought I'd try it. You know, you never know, really. So we're going to go ahead and use this right angle tool, put it on the old righty-tighty, and we're going to see if it'll work. There we go. There's a surprisingly limited amount of space. So what I'm actually doing is I'm holding it on there and I'm just rotating the wheel. I'm not even able to ratchet the arm. All right, now that it's tighter, I can ratchet it. So since I've got the other two tightened up pretty good, I'm gonna go ahead and tighten this one to full tight, get it where I want it. Now we're gonna come back and we're gonna tighten these down. Lost my bit. Let's put it back. There we go. Full tight. All right. Now that that's done, we can get our electrical connection. Make sure it's facing the right direction. Snap it into place. And just like that, we are fully installed. Let's get our trim panel pieces back and we'll call this one a job well done. All right, so I'm going to take any opportunity I can to go ahead and clean up after myself. And you know, one thing I always believe in is if I touch it during a removal process, I'm going to clean it when I put it back. And there you go. You'll feel when it seats in both in the back and then also here and here. So tug on it a little bit, nice and secure. Let's get the sill plate put back on. Same thing here, we're going to clean this up a little bit before we install it back and call this job complete. While I have the sill plate out, I noticed that there was some dirt here in the channel. So I actually use that same Meguiar's product and I spray it liberally, as you can see, down inside that channel. And I'll take a microfiber cloth and I will wipe that weather stripping off. This Meguiar's product is fantastic for the door weather stripping. It really keeps it useful and keeps it long lasting. I love using it for that purpose. And so there we go. Before we put that back down, we're going to go ahead and wipe down those surfaces. There we go, just to keep it nice and clean. All right, now that that's done, this only goes on in one direction, and you'll be able to tell that notch right there. And you want that entered in here, that here. And once you get it lined up, just a nice bang of the fist there. Again, working yourself down. That's going to get it snapped into place. All right, let's go ahead and get the screws in and we'll wrap it up. And just like that, it is a job well done.